All right, y'all. So let's get into this headline from New York Post. Now, this comes just a couple days after Bishop T.D. Jakes had that medical emergency during his sermon. It says Bishop T.D. Jakes sues fellow pastor for defamation following SEX abuse claims. Now, this was posted on the 25th. I saw this interview, it had to be at least 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. I didn't watch the entire interview. It was just a lot. It was a very heavy amount of information. And I think this is the interview that ultimately got Dwayne Youngblood sued. So Dwayne Youngblood, he's a pastor, or he used to be a pastor. I'm not sure if he's still a pastor or not, but he used to be a pastor, and he basically assaulted a minor. I believe that minor was going to his church, and he assaulted that minor. Got put in prison, is recently out of prison. Now he's on parole, and he is a registered offender. And he did this interview on Larry Reed Live, and he alleged that he was assaulted by TD Jakes. Now, I'll play this clip, and I'll play just this clip. I'm not going to play anything else from it besides that clip, simply because of all the legal stuff that's, flying around this case. But I will read this article before we get to the clip, because this will give you a pretty good idea of what we're dealing with, because a lot of people are saying, and there's growing speculation, and this is something that I even mentioned on stream. If you were on stream the day that TD Jakes had this incident, I was on stream, and it happened like 30 minutes before I had got on stream. I even said, it looks like this probably has something to do with the stress of everything that is swirling around TD Jakes at this moment in time. And that's the growing speculation that people are thinking. Now, it says Bishop T.D. Jakes is in stable condition a day after suffering a medical emergency during a sermon, but the megachurch pastor is facing another hurdle related to SEX abuse allegations. Jakes, 67, has filed a defamation lawsuit against Dwayne Youngblood, a fellow pastor who claimed Jakes tried to assault him when he was 18 or 19 years old, the Post has learned. Youngblood made explosive claims against the popular motivational speaker on October 27th on an episode of Larry Reed Live, which I'll show you a clip. He alleged that Jakes tried to groom him and also hugged and tried to kiss him. The younger pastor and his attorney, Tyrone Blackburn, who represented Little Rod in the lawsuit against Diddy, it's a very interesting connection, then demanded $6 million from Jakes in order to resolve this matter quickly and privately in a November 15th legal filing. Youngblood said if Jakes didn't cough up the cash, he'd sue him for sexual assault and harassment. Jakes instead opted to file a defamation suit against Youngblood in Pennsylvania federal court. In their filing, Jakes' attorney seemed to hint that the stress of the lawsuit might have contributed to his medical emergency on Sunday. This lawsuit is intended to bring that scheme to a halt. Jakes' team wrote. To end the extreme emotional, physical, and spiritual toll defendants' conduct has caused Bishop Jakes to set the record straight so the world understands the patent falsity of the accusations and to restore Bishop Jakes' reputation. It says Bishop Jakes believes with all his heart that actual victims of sexual abuse should be treated with the utmost respect, kindness, empathy, and sympathy, and that true perpetrators of such abuse should be held accountable for their actions. The filing continues, but that is not the case here. Youngblood has used and abused the might of social media in the legal process to make knowingly false accusations for his own personal and financial gain. Jakes' team also pointed out that Youngblood is a registered offender in the state of Pennsylvania and is currently on parole. The Post has verified that Youngblood had previously pleaded guilty to assaulting at least 2 teenage boys. He now claims to be reformed and even published a book, Freedom from Homosexuality, No Longer Living a Lie. An attorney for Youngblood did not immediately return the Post's message. The motivational speaker born... Okay, that doesn't really matter. Let's watch this clip. So this is just a brief clip from some of the allegations that Dwayne was saying.
We befriended kind of close with Bishop Jakes. And we decided in one of the times he was there, it was going to be his birthday. I was able to convince my mother to let me drive her car as I didn't have a vehicle. I said, well, we're going to take him out to eat. I want to drive your car. And so we did. We took him out to eat. And it was decided after we were done taking him out to eat that I would be the person to take him back to his sleeping place, which at the time there was a lady named Sister Giles. She always wanted to house and take care of him when he came to that church. And so I came in there, drove him to eat, and then took him back to her home. Well, after taking him back to her home, he says, come on in, let's talk. You can't even imagine being 18, 19 years of age. This person is killing it, and they're saying to you, come on in, let's talk. And so I did. I went in. We sat down at a very long dining room table in a room that she had. And for 2 hours, it was unbelievable. Pouring of heart, crying, him talking about my father. We talking about these scenarios. And I inwardly just knew I had finally found someone who could get it. Someone who understood. I'm sitting at this table, and for the first time talking to any man, I got tears coming down my face because somebody gets me. Somebody understood what I was going through. Well, after sitting there and having this long discourse with him, I finally look at my watch and I'm like, oh my goodness, I got to go. I got to get this car back to my mother. She's going to kill me. So I said to Bishop, I got to get up. And I got up from the table. He got up from the table. He walked around toward the way I had to exit quicker than I got over there. And when I started to walk past him, he pulled me to himself, wrapped his arms around me, and tried to kiss me. And in that moment, I literally died. I could not. I tell you, to this day, I can't remember how I got out of that place. But I remember driving home with all kinds of crazy thoughts and what in the world am I going to do now? And I finally get home, get in the house, get in the bed. I'm going to try to go to sleep. And I get to sleep and get up in the morning. And in the morning, I step into our bathroom and my home phone rings. My mother answers the phone and she says to me, Wayne, it's Elder Jakes. And I get on that phone. And when I get on that telephone, I can hear water. He is sitting in a bathtub. And in that thing, he says to me, without any hesitation, there's 3 things I need you to do. The first one is, when I come to Pittsburgh, you're going to be the only person I sleep with. The second one is, you can't sleep with anybody else because I don't want to give my wife anything. And thirdly, I will take care of you the rest of your life. I can't to this day remember how I got off that phone, but I do know I made a decision that I wasn't going to the service that night. And eventually I told my mother, I'm not going to go to the service tonight. She says, no. You know, we got a rule in this house. If we go, you go. I never told her what he had done. I went to church, and the most humiliating thing imaginable happened that night at church. Bishop Jakes, getting up to preach, speaks into that microphone. I'm going to ask young minister Youngblood to read for me. And after all of that drama of the last 24 hours, I had to read before he preached.
So I was trying to look up the case. I don't know if I'd imagine at least one person probably looked at my tabs. I was trying to look up the case because it's a federal case in Pennsylvania. So I think you can look it up. I believe it's public. It may not be. I don't know. But I was trying to look it up to see if I can find some more details. But I'm sure some of these outlets, some of these news outlets are going to post, the full lawsuit so we can kind of look into it. Similar to what happened with the, Lil Rod lawsuit. So we can kind of go over it and look at it. But, I said this on stream is the fact that the stress is probably getting to him. The stress of everything that's going on is probably getting to him. And that's exactly what his lawyer said. So there's so many layers to this case. And at this point, we just have to see what happens. We have to see what facts come out. We have to see what happens, if it's going to go to court, if they're going to settle. Who knows what's going to happen? But you have somebody who is alleging they were abused at an early age, and then he himself goes into ministry. He abuses 2 boys, gets locked up, gets out. Now he's a registered offender, comes back out, files a lawsuit against TD Jakes. TD Jakes then countersues, files a lawsuit against him. And now we're in this situation. And I don't know what's going on with 2024, but it seems like that year when a lot of things are coming to the light. Allegedly, obviously, right? So don't listen. I'm just talking about it, TD. Joe, don't be sending nobody my way. I'm simply just talking about it, reporting on the information that has been made available in public. All right. I understand these are allegations, but this is some crazy stuff that for the church overall, for Christians, this is not good. It's not good. Either way you slice it, this is terrible. Right? I mean, say what you want to say. A lot of people are saying, Dwayne, how does he still have the title of pastor? He shouldn't even been in that position in the first place, and yada, yada, yada. Say what you want to say. I mean, you've got 2 pastors suing each other for just heinous acts, allegedly. And it's just a terrible look all around. And at this point, it's like, what do you even believe? There's so many things that are going around on the internet. There's so many, theories. There's so many opinions. There's so many allegations. There's so much. And it's a crazy time that we're living in when we have this much access to information and when everybody is essentially their own media outlet. It's just insane, all the things that we're seeing. That's all I'm going to say on it for right now. I'll let y'all go crazy in the comments. Y'all let me know what you think about this in the comments. I actually did reach out to Dwayne. So I saw the video that we just watched like 3 weeks ago, and I was going to react to the whole interview, but I was like, you know what? This is kind of crazy stuff. Let me reach out to him to see if he'd be willing to come on and just talk. To my knowledge, he hasn't replied yet. I think it's been like 3 weeks and he hasn't replied. So that's probably a good thing because I probably would have seen myself wrapped up in this whole, lawsuit, which I'm good. I don't want to be a part of that. So let me know what y'all think. Get in my comments, like this video. I'm out, y'all.